like really excited to do this. That's the mindset I had to take on. She'll either look at me like I'm crazy or she'll be like totally receptive to it.
So there is cramping, there is pressure.
I kind of like screamed a little bit. Welcome to episode 2 of my mini-series on health. So as you already know from the title of this video, I decided to do a colonoscopy completely awake. The idea began when a friend of mine shared their own experience doing this. For context, I get colonoscopies done fairly regularly because I have ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disorder that affects the lining of the colon. Never in my past colonoscopies had I considered for a second doing it awake. After hearing my friend's story and pondering it for a bit, I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I just wanted to share a bit of that experience with you all. Here's how it went down. So today I have my pre-op appointment and I'm gonna ask the doctor if I can do a colonoscopy without anesthesia. I have no idea what she's gonna say. Okay, I just got to the doctor's office. She'll either look at me like I'm crazy or she'll be like totally receptive to it, but we'll see. So my friend who I mentioned earlier, who inspired me to do this, told me that they got a lot of pushback from their doctor and they really had to fight to get their doctor to agree with it. I was prepared to have to do the same, which left me a bit nervous. And actually, the fact that I was nervous to just ask tells you a little bit about me. Essentially, I have always harbored a certain degree of fear when it comes to challenging authority. Wow, am I being vulnerable on YouTube? Anyway, here's a snippet of my conversation with my doctor.
Sleep, you're not going to feel anything.
Can I just ask a question about that? I have talked to actually a few people who have done colonoscopies without anesthesia. They said it's hard. They said it was painful, but they also said in a sense it was like really rewarding and like they got to see, what was going on inside of them. I wanted to just see what the possibility is of me trying to do that.
Absolutely.
Not wanting to make your job any harder. So I don't know if it's something like we could prepare me to have the anesthesia administered should I need to if I can't handle the pain, but I don't know if anyone has ever done this. Or...
So many people do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a common thing. A lot of people have kind of like a fear of being put to sleep.
Okay, up until this point, I legitimately thought I was going to be one of just a handful of people who had ever done this, at least with my doctor, which, I'm not going to lie, was part of the reason I thought it would be cool to do a video on this. But she absolutely destroyed the uniqueness factor I had going for me. Now, she mentioned that most people who do this do so because they have a fear of being put to sleep. I don't necessarily have a fear of being put to sleep. My motivations are different. For me, this was to be a test of my mental strength in getting through pain, as well as a way of understanding what my body's pain threshold is. So now I had to go ahead, but I still didn't know what to expect of the operation itself.
The hardest part is getting to the end. And usually it takes anywhere from 2 to like maybe 6 minutes to get to the beginning of your colon. That's the hardest part. When we're coming out, it's very easy. So there is cramping, there is pressure, but it can definitely be done. And we walk you through it. Do you need a break? We take a break, we breathe. So, tell me what music you want to play. We can make it very comfortable. So absolutely, we do it. So. Okay, cool. I thought this was going to be like a ridiculous request. No. And if at any point you change your mind, we can totally give you anesthesia.
So that was pretty easy, right? I got the yes right away. I didn't get any pushback from my doctor. My doctor was happy to accommodate as necessary. All good things. But strangely enough, part of me couldn't help but be annoyed at how easy this was. The fact that my doctor immediately said yes and was offering to be so accommodating left me wondering, why is it not standard practice in the healthcare industry for doctors to tell their patients explicitly that they have the option to not use anesthesia? Especially for an operation like this, which is not a full-on surgery. Like, I'm not getting cut open. You're just told that you're getting put to sleep, and then the conversation just continues. I mean, literally. Did you catch the very beginning of my conversation with my doctor?
You're going to be asleep, you're not going to feel anything.
Now, some people might say that the answer to my question is money. After all, healthcare is quite a profitable industry in the US, especially for specialists and anesthesiologists. So along that line of thought, maybe doctors would be selling themselves short if they explicitly gave patients the option to not use anesthesia. Possible. However, in my case, given how receptive my doctor was to the idea, I'd like to give the benefit of the doubt and say that, maybe just so few people choose to do this compared to the total number of performed colonoscopies that it just isn't a natural part of the routine when discussing colonoscopies with her patients. I guess I'm just trying to see both sides here. I have no problem critiquing the industry, but I also want to be fair to my doctor and my own personal experience, which was really good. Regardless, it should be made explicit to patients that they have a choice. Here I am with my Miralax, and I have to drink all of this in the next 13 hours. Prep for a colonoscopy is not fun, let me tell you that. I don't know why I'm really, really excited to do this without anesthesia. Oh my gosh. Who gets excited about doing a colonoscopy? Watching that during post-ed? But humor me for a second. There's something to be said about my reaction. There's something exciting about being a bit rebellious and challenging the status quo in this context. You see, being put to sleep in an operation where it's possible to do it awake communicates something to me. It's like when good intentions actually end up as insults. The anesthesia is this artificial barrier meant to protect me from the truth, because the truth is painful. But in protecting me, the implicit message is that I'm not ready for the truth. So I should just embrace my cocoon of comfort and not give it a second thought. Maybe this is the frustrated child in me speaking, but I don't like being protected from the truth. I seek it instead. How do you open this thing? So when I asked my doctor about doing this colonoscopy without anesthesia, she said the day before she actually had a guy who requested to do that, but then he chickened out and he ended up doing the anesthesia. I'm hoping I won't chicken out, but I'm also trying not to be too hard on myself. If I can't do it, I can't do it. And that's it. And there's this part of me that's like, I want to conquer pain. And yeah, that is part of it. I think it's important to feel pain sometimes. It's a necessary evil of being human. Evil, and that pain is an objectively unpleasant feeling. Necessary, because pain is an alarm system that alerts us to potential danger. But more than that, in moderate quantities, pain gives us a choice, to succumb or to overcome. I think we could define the 21st century as the century of comfort, relative to centuries past. We have developed ways to alter the environment around us to keep us cool on a hot, humid day, or cozy and warm on a frigid winter night. We have advanced in healthcare so much that we have developed medicines, concoctions of synthetic materials that work some cellular magic to numb us to pain. We have systems in society to ensure we have relatively easy access to food and electricity, and that we don't drown in our own waste. The list goes on and on and on. We are in control, in a lot more ways than we consciously perceive. While I would argue that the comforts we enjoy in the present are a boon to society, there's something humbling about flipping the power dynamic on its head, and actively rejecting comfort, even if just for a moment, even if it's painful, and to just be, and to just feel. So yeah, this is a practice in handling pain. I was more excited yesterday than I am today. I'm starting to feel nervous. I am tired from my prep. I haven't slept well in 2 nights because I've had to keep going to the bathroom. I'm ready to get this over with. Okay, so I just came back from my operation and I did it. Yeah. It's a freaking awesome feeling. Yes. And it wasn't that bad. The maximum pain I felt was like a really tight cramping sensation. And even then, it only lasted for like 1 second. The whole experience was just pretty cool. The moment my doctor saw me, she was really supportive. She was like, you got this. There were moments where I kind of like screamed a little bit because of the cramping. The whole thing took like 15 minutes to go all the way through the large intestine and then all the way back out. And I got to see all of it on the monitor. Wow, it's so cool. It's so cool to be able to just see inside of you live. I really wish I could have had my phone during the procedure to film. So the hardest part is the way in, but then coming out is relatively painless. And on the way out, they also took some biopsies. So they have like these forceps, right? These tweezers that you just see on the camera. They just take a little chunk out of your large intestine and it starts bleeding a little bit, but you don't feel anything because you don't have any nerve endings in your large intestine. One thing I really learned is breathing into pain and accepting pain, right? Thinking of pain as becoming part of you. And that's the mindset I had to take on during this experience was, okay, there are going to be moments that are painful. I was telling myself, breathe into the pain, accept it, bring it in with you. And it really makes it so much easier to handle when you acknowledge it's going to be there and instead of resisting it, just taking it in. So that's it. If any of you have done a colonoscopy without anesthesia, I would love to hear about your experience in the comments.